first group of lawyers, which was called the Leandro Listserv, I believe, at the beginning. And that group of lawyers has held together for 5 years, talking with each other, really focusing on the bread and butter issue of education and the legal framework in which we need to counterattack these right-wingers. So it is, and as many of you know, my wife died about 4 months ago, and but she's still with us today. So one of the things she did before she left is hired our old partner, Mark Dorson, to help carry on, and the Center for Civil Rights is stronger than ever, and one of Ashley's closest friends, Elizabeth Haddix, is now taking her place there. And Mark helped hold together this diverse group, and I say that because lawyers don't necessarily agree with each other on everything, for about 6 months, while we watched these right-wing ideologues try to dismantle this school system here in Wake, and tried to work out what strategies we would use. And we did get consensus around this idea of filing a Title VI complaint. One reason we had to wait was we had to wait till they made some specific moves, which they've done. We were all ready for them. And we are last night at 5:39 p.m., the Title VI complaint was filed with the Department of Justice. And with the Office of Civil Rights of the Department of Education. And as President Jealous works closely with both the Attorney General and the Secretary of Education. So those are the people that we have filed this complaint with. And now it gives me pleasure. I've got with me Jack Holtzman from the Justice Center, who is a key member of this Civil Rights Education Law Group. My good friend Irv Joyner, my former professor from North Carolina Central, and Mark Dorson, my former partner. And I'm going to turn it over to Mark, and then Irv will say a few words.
It's always a little anticlimactic being the lawyers to come up and talk after all these incredibly inspiring speeches. And I tell Reverend Barber all the time, I'm going to stop coming to these because everybody gets me all fired up, and then I have to get down to the nitty-gritty. So I just do want to say, echo something that Al said. This complaint that's been filed, this Title VI complaint, which has been filed, and the complainants are the National NAACP, the North Carolina State Conference of the NAACP, the Raleigh Apex branch, the South Central Wake County branch, the Wendell branch, NC Heat, which is Heroes Emerging Among Teens, and Quentin White, who you just heard from. While they are all the formal complainants, this process of bringing this Title VI forward was the collective work of a tremendous number of community-based organizations and individuals who worked very hard doing the on-the-ground grassroots organizing that has kept this issue alive. And specifically want to give a nod to the Wake Education Advocates and the work that they've done, and that includes the YWCA of the Greater Triangle, Great Schools in Wake, Wake Up Wake County, the Coalition of Concerned Citizens for African American Children, the Harriet B. Webster Task Force, NC Heat, NC Equals, and dozens of other people who have been working to keep this issue in the forefront. And I will say that that group, like this group here and the group of lawyers, is an incredibly diverse group, racially, ethnically, socioeconomically. And as a civil rights lawyer and an advocate, seeing this multicultural, multi-class coalition together is the strongest, most powerful reminder of why the struggle against segregation remains so important, because this coalition is what we've been fighting for all along. So I just want to say a few words about this Title VI complaint. As was mentioned earlier, Title VI is a section of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and it prohibits discrimination, intentional discrimination, as well as discriminatory impacts of actions by any entity that receives federal financial assistance, like the Wake County Public School System. And I will just say that the board reported that it expended federal money in the amount of $77 million in the fiscal period that ended June 30th, 2009. So what are the main aspects of this complaint? There are three main arguments to our Title VI complaint. One is that the school board has intentionally discriminated against students in its reassignments. The school board's April 6, 2010 changes to the student assignment policy intentionally racially discriminated because it intentionally assigned students on the basis of race. These reassignments were made with a discriminatory intent to remove students of color who live in South East Raleigh from Garner High School, and to allow white students to be reassigned from Stowe Elementary to the more affluent white school, Lacey Elementary. That's one aspect of the complaint, intentional race discrimination. The other two elements of the complaint relate to what we call, on the legal side, disparate impact. That is to say, policies that the school board has adopted that may not have been intentionally discriminatory